Olá!
Bem-vindos! Bem-vindos!
Bem-vindos! Hey
Yes,
everyone, I'm
next.
going to do a quick introduction as we're dual live streaming this on Instagram and on Facebook right now. My name's Matthew Bochsler. This is Erica De Luca, and if you cannot see our lovely Isadora, she's only on the IG feed at the moment. But today we're going to talk about everything that's happened in the last 2 years in Brazil, around the world. And we're going to talk about some important stuff that probably will have some value, for you in your lives too, because that's why we're here. I want to just acknowledge my absolute adoration from every level, from a business level, from a personal level, from a want to change the world and never falls into just her world. That's Erica. Girl's got a big heart. It's bigger than Brazil. And thank you for being with me here and inviting me to this conversation.
Yes.
So the rest of you, just a quick here, as we're broadcasting on the accessmedia.live channel. Erica is a facilitator of many modalities. One of those modalities is she talks to animals like better than I can talk to people. What a cool possibility, right? And
yes.
she's always been like enthusiastically present with everything I've done and all the classes I taught in Brazil, and I'm always engaged and grateful to do more with her. And Isadora, our translator today on IG, huge round of applause, yay. We all met together in our process. Yeah, so glad you're here too. I mean, we all came together at a time when we realized one big question, and that was, what the fuck else is possible in the world that nobody's acknowledging is available to us now? So I'll hand it over to my lovely co-host, Erica De Luca, and let's see how much fun we can have with this interview.
Yeah. Isadora, I think you can try to translate what Matt Bochsler was talking, because he started to... He didn't stop.
Short version is fine.
Short version.
So Erica is now translating what I just said in Portuguese on the other channel. We'll have her on the other channel next time for Portuguese translation in the future. And just be a moment, and how much better does it get than that? Erica will be translating, or not translating, she'll actually be speaking in English for the rest of the conversation. So don't worry, English speakers, you guys are going to do great.
Ele falou que sabe melhor do que ele, do jeito que ele fala com as pessoas. Né? Que eu falo melhor que os animais do que ele fala com as pessoas. Né?
Como pode melhorar?
Yes.
Let's go. Well, Erica, do you want to open the conversation up? I'm excited to see what we can actually contribute to the world here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today it's ai meu Deus, é 1º de setembro, eu sempre confundo as datas. Como é que fala 1º de setembro? September 1st. Access consciousness in whole world, they do a nice job because of the September Yellow about Suicide Day, the suicide in this whole month, how bars can contribute with this, and the consciousness about suicide. And my point of view is what we have before the suicide. Yeah, and my point is we have depression, and that's the story where I am. I was a depression person, and I think I was. Now I think I don't. I was just aware about the energy around, and I'm gonna stop here. Isa, try to translate.
And yes, and I was that same person. I spent the first 40 years of my life clinically depressed. Yeah, and that's why it's really easy for me and for Erica to easily, acknowledge when other people are depressed because it's something we both have gone through. And when it shows up in the future, we're like, oh, I know that energy. I don't have to choose that anymore. And
Yes.
what if you had like the tools to actually to make it that easy? You're like, I feel depressed, and you could just like change it. So, which is the second part of our broadcast, and that is like talking about the access bars. So, the first time I got my bars run at the age of 40 was the time that I finally realized I actually was depressed. I didn't know I was depressed before. Yeah, and how many other people are out there in the world who literally don't know they're depressed? They just think that this is as good as life gets. And since that time, since that first time I got my bars run, which is a process of releasing all this electrical energy that we store in our bodies, there's an enthusiasm, an excitement, a thrill to be alive that exists in my world now that's always greater than everything else going on around me. And that's probably what brought Erica and me together, and that's also why I do what I do. I don't want to live in a depressed world with a bunch of depressed people, but I'd love to have a whole bunch of depressed people come together and have tools to not be depressed. How cool would that be? Yeah, and before this, I probably tried 15 other modalities trying to change this, this darkness and this unhappiness that I had in my life, and they'd all work for a little bit, but they never lasted. So after, waking up for a couple months and jumping out of bed, like with an excitement to be alive again, I was like, wow, this is something I want to take to the rest of the world. So that's where I want to open up this conversation to Erica so we can like really hear about how it's changed how she is in the world.
Yeah. So for me, it's different in how I discover about depression, and it started when I decided to study psychanalysis. I'll say this in
Mm-hmm.
English.
Channeling.
No. Psychanalyst. I
Oh,
started to study. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, whatever. So
Psychoanalyst. Okay,
yeah,
I
I
got it.
started to
Mm-hmm.
study, and when I was there, I was studying a lot of ways about our body, our mind, our soul, all the stuffs. And in my second class, studying about my face, and my professor, he just say, oh, you have signs of a sad person, like depression, like a depression person. I was like, me? No. No, I'm very happy person. No, it's not me. And the second time, when I decided to do my mapa astrológico, my
Astrological map.
yeah, and the guy, the person who did this, he said that, you are a depression person, and I was, oh fuck. In less than 3 months, two people talking about this. No, I'm not. But okay, let's see. And I saw how my life was like a depression person, but I couldn't see. And after he asked me, "Oh, do you want to receive 10 sessions of bars?" And I say, "Yeah, of course I want. Let's see how it's gonna be." And my life was like was really. I was like in the how I say, in the dark side of the life that I couldn't see. And after these 10 sessions with bars, and like 1 month after of the bars, someone come to my house. She decided to do a MTVSS class. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? I love it. This, I don't know what is it, but I want to know more. Tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah.
And my friend, he decided to do a bars class in my house. So I did my first bars class. And my word like, we change everything. That's why I choose to talk about bars. That's why I'm here talking about bars. That's why I always talk to everyone, get your bars run. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, I forget that we have someone translate here. Sorry.
Isadora, can you do a lovely short version of
Yeah,
that? I
she
know you
know,
can.
yeah.
She's good.
She knows my story, so
They're great stories. And that's how we met. Yeah. So I think I'd love to tell people a little bit about how the bars works, because I think that's really important for most people to actually understand something before
Yeah.
they'll actually try it. Does that sound good, Erica?
Yes, of course. Let's do
Sure.
it. Yeah.
So the access bars, from my perspective, really looks like science and works like magic. Looks like magic and works like looks like science and works like magic. Because, like I said, I did about 15 different modalities, and one of them, from one end of the spectrum, I'd run through the bushes naked with a stick on fire and hope that my depression would go away, or that I'd go get acupuncture, and none of them worked. But the access bars is fundamentally different. Es verdad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I would do anything. But what happened is, with my desire to try anything to get over this, all I had to do was lay down on a table, and I literally fell asleep for 45 minutes in my first session and woke up with just this sense of peace in my world. And this fella, Gary Douglas, about 30 years ago, he came to a place in his life where nothing was working. And he channeled a being called Rasputin at the time. And Rasputin showed him these points that are called the bars. And they're points on your head, 32 of them. And what happens when you touch each of these points, like pain and pleasure and joy and happiness and healing and money, control, and all these other points on your head, the energies and everything you ever decided about all those things, they just liberate themselves. They discharge. And it was like so easy that I didn't believe it was going to work at first. So that's why I like to tell people how this works, because what if your life could be so easy to be happy? And that's the reason you don't want to choose it. Yeah. So when you touch these points, all of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and traumas and dramas, or anything that ever occurred for you in your life, the energies that hold them in place, they just go, they leave by electrical discharge. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I think about, wow, what would happen if everybody in the world at least got their bars run once? And when I ask these questions, this energy comes up, and I was like, wow, the world would be such a different place. There would be no bad graffiti. There would be no angry people. There'd be no wars. Life could actually be this peaceful, enjoyable world. Erica, can you imagine not having to fight for anything or trying to prove anything in your life? I mean, is it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't have to prove anything, like it was actually okay just to be exactly how you got out of bed this morning, even with your hair all messed up and your makeup's crooked and all kinds of people are having weird thoughts about you, and you're just like, I'm okay. I'm still gonna make sure we have a better world. And this is actually, what really brought me to this conversation also is like there's so many people I know who are buying into this suicide thing is, it's really real for them. And I get it is really real for a lot of people. So shall we move into that, Erica, and talk a little bit about suicide and what can change with that?
Mm-hmm. Um, when I was in depression, there's a lot of things around us that we couldn't see, and we don't know what is happening with this the energy and the entities. I want to talk a little bit about entities as well. Yeah. So when I was in the dark side of my life, like depression person, a lot of bad things happen in my life. I just remember that I was on the shower and a lot of bad thoughts and kind of I'm gonna kill someone, I'm gonna kill myself comes to me, and like bad thoughts, and I was like, oh my god, this is not me, I'm not that person, what is this? But in that time I didn't know about how entities could be in our lives talking, that we think that we it's our thought, but it was not.
Yeah, the whole thing about entities, spirits, dead people, it's a how much does our reality say no, that's not going on, let's not pay attention to it. Yeah, and does it ever work when you ignore something? Yeah, it's like you put up a wall to something and you're like, no, I'm not going to look at that, but it's still there. Like, let me give you a great example. So I was talking with my dad today, and my dad is in his later years. He's in his almost 80. And I was talking to my dad, and he's like, I wonder how are your sisters doing, Sandy? And Sandy, my sister, died about 10 years ago. And my dad's thinking about my sister. And I'm like, well, Dad, maybe she's talking to you. Would you like to talk to her? And then he's like, no, no, I'll just pray for her. And I was like, Dad, when you get to heaven, prayers don't work anymore. You don't need prayers. You're in heaven. So why don't you just talk to her? So, nevertheless, my dad didn't think it was too funny, but he was like, okay, well, let's talk to her. I'd love to hear from her. So he let go of all these points of view that had been there for 75 years of his life, that you can't talk to dead people. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, she's fine. She's having a good time. My dad, who's not a spiritual person by any means. Yeah. So if you had, let's say, 100 people who died of suicide that all get together, let's say in September of every year, because this is International Suicide Month, because the world recognizes people for some reason start going crazy. Would you want to have those tools where you can just say, oh, is this you guys being suicidal, or is this me being suicidal? Yeah, and that's where the bars comes in, is the bars allows those belief systems and all the stories that you may have decided were true to just like evaporate. They just leave your head. And then you're like, wow, I'm really more aware of what belongs to me, and all the suicidal tendencies go bye-bye. So imagine all the other places in your life you could apply this kind of awareness. Like, oh, wow, there's something talking that I'm aware of in my world, but I'm sure it's me because I can hear it. But I'm like, oh, that sounds a little bit different than me. I'm acknowledging that it's not me. So now I don't have to react to it. I can actually make a new choice and act instead of react. Imagine a future with no problems. How cool would that be? Oh my God, I'm so excited. You don't have to love to hate anybody. You don't have to hate to love anybody. You just like be you and create a greater world. Now, here's the best part about it all. If you do it, it works. That's it.
I agree. I put everything about we're talking in my life, and now like problem is not a problem. It's just a okay. What is this? What can I do with this? How can I change it? Okay, it's okay, and the life is easier now. In all points of my life, it's easy, it's light, and yeah.
Yeah, and the other part is that really got me with the access bars and depression and all this stuff is I didn't have to give up anything that I was doing. I just it allowed me, it empowered me to do the things I was choosing much better, much easier. It wasn't like a new way of doing things. It was a new way of being you. Because I know I know too many people that do things with they'll do something in their life that's like they do it better than any person I've ever met, but it's not exactly the right thing to do in the world, but they do it really well. And so that's where if you like to run around the fire naked with the stick on fire, it's okay. You'll do it better than anyone ever did it after the bars. Yeah, and you know, I joke a lot, but I wasn't always funny. In the beginning, 20 years of my life, I was really serious because I didn't know life could be fun. And now there's this element of playfulness, and there's this element of willingness to make fun with everything, and that is really the result of having all the space that happens with the bars, and is so needed on our planet for all these people who are having these suicidal dependencies because they don't know something else is possible for them.
Yeah.
Now, I know, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was in depression and how I tried to be the person who another person want that meu Deus, me perdi. I try to put myself in the box, the place where someone want from me, and like people used to say to me, "You talk too loud. You talk too loud." And before all this, I was okay. I'm gonna talk a little bit. And now someone talk, oh, you talk too loud, and I say, yeah, no, it's okay, it's me, you. Like I'm that person who's gonna talk loud. So
Yeah. So what's some things that have changed in your life? What's a couple of the biggest things that have changed in your life where you have freedom now, Erica, from bars?
Judgments and the projection and expectation from others. Basic that like the basic not, but the first thing, judgments and expectation from the others with me, like how I'm gonna be, how I'm gonna talk, how I'm gonna what I'm gonna wear, and all this stuff. Now it's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And just imagine never having to judge yourself again and always having the doors like always open with everything you choose and you be. So the potency and the power of you shows up. You don't have to fight anybody. You can just allow all that energy to move through you as a creation. So this month is actually Suicide Awareness Month, and Access Consciousness, who's very aware of all the suicidal tendencies, asks all of their facilitators to give free sessions and clinics around the world. So this is your big chance. Go get them. You cannot make this about money. Go free your mind. And while we're waiting for Isadora to come back, the way you find out, and maybe Erica, you can put this in the chat, can you put in a link to the Access Consciousness site so that they can know how to find out about the free mental health awareness clinics that are happening everywhere in Brazil, Mexico, and the United States? Maybe I can.
In whole world, yeah.
Because worst case, if you get your bars run, you're going to have greater choices in your life. And if you have greater choices, then you're not fighting anything anymore. You're choosing instead of fighting. And let's stop fighting. Let's start creating together. Let's start doing this together as a conscious possibility in the future. And that's what drives me forward. That's why I do this. I could try to make myself really important to myself for the next 100 years, and it wouldn't change the planet. So I'm here for all of us, and those of you that want to choose it. I will use my mouth now. Erica, are you going to be doing any sessions or any of the free mental health clinics? Okay, what dates are yours coming up?
So me and Paola, we are talking about this, but I was traveling this weekend. But we are talking about, we don't have the right date now for now, but we're deciding when it's gonna be in Rio. So we're gonna have for sure for all people from Rio come to take your bars. Yeah.
Yes.
Just be aware in my Instagram, because I'm gonna put a lot of this consciousness about this month, about September yellow access consciousness bars and veterinary, because it's the month that we have the veterinary day, and I'm a vet as well.
Yeah, and if you're in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, in the next 3 weeks, I'll be here. We're going to be releasing the dates for several mental health awareness clinics there. So come and visit, come and get your bars run, or go to the Access site and find out where there's facilitators close to you, so we can let go of the suicide thing as being a real thing. How cool would that be?
Mm-hmm. É isso aí, pessoal.
Yeah. Erica, thank you so much for having me on. My heart is 100% here to you and everybody you engage with, because I know you've got the world's back because you've got your back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Matt, to be here with me. Thank you, Isadora, to translate our conversation. And what else is possible here?
Yes, exactly.
How does it get? Ai, meu Deus, sempre como pode melhorar?
Como pode melhorar? Bye, everybody. Adiós. Hasta luego.
Eu tenho um recado para você que está no Brasil ou agora. Gente, procura na tua cidade alguém que é do Access, alguém que está fazendo algum evento, porque acontece evento no mundo inteiro. Então, né, as pessoas que estão aqui, procurem na sua cidade receber as barras para ver o que você vai sentir e depois conta pra gente, né? Toda a mudança que vai acontecer na sua vida. Tá bom? Então, obrigada a todos que estão aqui. Thank you for everyone who's here. Thank you.
Obrigado a todos. Tchau, tchau.
Né? Mais consciência. More consciousness in the world.
Mais consciência.
Yeah. Tchau, tchau. Hi, Matt.
See everybody later.
Wait. I'm gonna
Yes.
Turn on the wait. Yeah.
For all the rest of you on StreamYard, thank you so much for watching. Next time we'll have a translator. Thank you for your patience as we try out our new systems. AccessMedia.live's here because we want to get this information to the world. We're ready to have a world where people come together to create something different, not just get on the green side of the fence or the better side of the fence, because that's never worked. So come and join us. If you want to have know more information, check on the Facebook site below. If you want to find out Erica's information, we'll be posting that below too. Especially if you've got animals and you need some help with them because you love your animals, we want you to know Erica is a specialist at this, and she is here to create greater for you too. Okay? So Erica, all the love, big smooches. See your face soon, I'm sure, when I return to Brazil.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Matt.
Yes.
To be here.
Okay. Como pode melhorar?
Como pode melhorar?